Is it just me, or are people getting more and more lonely as time goes on? I made a video kind of like this, talking about loneliness last year, which you can watch up here. But in that video, I mostly talked about why people feel lonely and some things that you can do to feel less lonely. But in this video, I wanted to take the loneliness topic in a different direction. Sometimes I feel like even though we're living in some of the best times technologically, we're more disconnected than ever. You know, when you watch old movies and you see people sitting down having a family dinner, maybe it's just me, but I feel like that rarely happens anymore. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really eat dinner with my mom a lot when I was a teenager. When I was a kid, I remember doing so, but after discovering playing online with my friends and realizing I didn't have to be on the phone with them, or I didn't have to be with them in person and I could still talk to them, that changed everything. It went from me spending time watching movies with my mom to me being in my room playing games. It went from me going out to the mall with her on a Saturday to me being in my room playing games. Games were a big part of my life, and sometimes I think they played a little too big of a role in my life. But let's stay on topic here. And for the record, if you still have dinner with your family, I'm glad that you do. And I'm not saying that I don't, because I do now with like my girl and stuff, but it's just that I rarely did before. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like everything is more temporary nowadays compared to before. Let me explain what I mean. Let's compare dating now versus when our parents did it. When our parents were in the dating scene, you had to go out to like the mall or a bar or a carnival or something like that to meet people. There was no Facebook dating or Tinder or Match.com or what's that other one, like eHarmony or something like that. You know, back then it took effort and things had to be planned, and it was more of a deep relationship, I guess. Now, if you don't mesh well with someone, there are hundreds, if not thousands of other potential partners just sitting on your phone. If you don't like the way someone ties their shoes, you can literally never talk to that person again. Go on your phone, swipe, I think it's left or right or somebody, and then you have someone else come over the next night or sometimes even the same night. Like, how crazy is that? It's almost not even worth getting to know people anymore because there are countless other people at your fingertips. And it's not even like, oh, you can do that to people. People can do that to you too. If somebody doesn't like the way my strings look on my sweater, they could be like, oh, no, I'll forget this guy. I want to see somebody else. And they can do that. I remember Jordan Peterson had this quote, and he said that it's now possible for young men to look at more beautiful nude women in one day than any man has ever seen prior to 10 or 20 years ago, or more than any man in history had ever seen. Switching gears to something more safe for work, I remember seeing this Watch Together feature on Disney Plus, and I'm pretty sure Netflix has it also. It's basically where you can watch things with your friends, and if you want to pause the movie, it pauses the movie for everyone. And it's basically like watching something with your friends, but your friends aren't there. But you know, you see with things like this, yes, it's a nice thing to have, and yes, it's like watching a movie with your friends, and yes, it was probably useful during the pandemic to feel a little bit more connected versus watching the movie alone. But I feel like for a lot of people now, after they come home from work, they eat and they're tired, they probably text their friends and say, hey, you want to watch the new Thor? And then they say, sure, and there you go. You don't even have to leave your house. You don't have to go outside in the cold. You don't have to use gas to drive there or anything like that. You just sit in front of the TV and you watch it together. And for the record, maybe it's because I was an only child, and being an only child was lonely. I remember playing 007, and I could either only play the campaign or I had to play against the computer because I had nobody else to play with except when my friends came over. Let me preface this part of the video by saying that I'm not here to blame technology. I think technology is a good thing, and it allows us to do things that people from the past could have only dreamt of doing. But think about this for a second. Like, I used to take the bus to go to work, right? And literally you go on the bus and you find a seat, you know, if you can, and it's literally just everybody on their phone. No one's looking around, no one's looking out the window, no one's talking to each other. It's just people with their headphones on their phone. And yes, the argument can be made, well, you know, people used to do that with the newspaper, and I agree, but I don't think phones are making it any easier. Technology is supposed to help us become more connected, not divide us even more. Think about how much of your life is online now. Like, you go online to watch videos, you go online to check the weather, you go online to check your bank. Like, when was the last time you went to a bank? So much of our lives revolve around being online that it's hard to even feel like it's real in a sense. Going back to the bank example really quick, when was the last time you touched money? For most people, you go and you work your 40 hours a week, and then every Friday or every second Friday, the numbers just go up on your screen, and that's that. We're just working for digital numbers to go up, basically. I have 523 subscribers right now on YouTube, but I don't have 500 friends. I don't even have 50 friends. But my Facebook friends count would tell you different. It's almost as if everyone just turned to online communities now instead of real life communities, if that makes sense. And don't get it twisted, I'm not saying that online communities and stuff are bad, and I'm not saying that just because you choose to talk to people on like Discord, that means you're like a lonely loser. I definitely think things like Discord are good for people that are feeling lonely because they can go on and talk to literally anyone in any corner of the world. But I just think that as we become more connected, it's difficult for us to establish a more human connection because we're social creatures. I don't know, maybe I'm just coming on here with another bad take, but as I always say, like, what do I know? All I do is come on here, I make a video, and hopefully people resonate with it. Either way, if you are feeling lonely and you want somebody to talk to, my DMs on any social media are always open. And as always, thanks for watching.